Bottom line, we did a great job.
We did a great job.
Yeah, we just need to work on each other's turn-ons.
Fine, I'm going to finish this conversation with Bergie then, but I know where we stand.
So then don't call me.
I just
and
wanted
you
some
don't come to apologize to me and then come to talk to her again.
I am here for Destiny and Harrison celebrating their win or their success in the Mr. and Mrs. Challenge and minding their own business and avoiding the drama that's going on in the villa. And Anna needs to stop playing victim. She took Leo from Cassie. Now Cassie has come to take Leo back. She thinks it's time for him to come home. She cannot start playing victim and start crying and making it seem like, Cassie out of the blue stole Leo when she was the one who started off by flirting with Leo, knowing he was in a coupling with Casey. So she needs to sit her bum somewhere. And I don't get where Hannah is coming from, trying to sort of intervene and try and play mean girls and isolate Cassie. That's none of her business. She needs to worry about her business with Marco, who will at some point dump her. And then Carmen is playing victim as well. She is trying to use the two guys to make her, to sort of lengthen her stay in the villa. So she's using Victor to play the bully, and then she's using Bergie to play the victim. That way she can appear to be the hero who's tried to save Bergie from this bully Victor, when we all know she's the reason why the two guys are going back and forth. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. I'm so sorry, I'm still on holiday. Hopefully, once I get back home by the end of the week, my reviews will be uploaded on time. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island USA, Season 5, Episode 9. So after the Mr. and Mrs. Game, you get the vulnerable couple sitting down, the girls on their own, the guys on their own, sort of having a conversation and sort of trying to dissect who's most likely to be at risk. And they all believe that Bergie and Cassie and Hannah and Carmen and Victor are most likely going to be vulnerable because the other two couples appear to be more solid. And then you have the immune couples being smug. I didn't like that. You have Hannah with Marco and Anna and Leo. Personally, I think it was a given that Marco was going to save Leo and Anna because he knew Anna before he came on the show, and he met Leo on the show, and it seems they have become very close friends with Leo. So I don't think it was that hard for him to decide who to save. And then you have Harrison and Destiny, who are celebrating their accomplishments, given the fact that they've only been together for 3 days. And in those 3 days, they were at one point, they were the front runners, and it took a tiebreaker for them to lose the competition. And so imagine if in 3 days they know so much about one another, what will happen if they were to stay together for a week or for a month or even for the full season. I think they're two highly intelligent people, but I think it also depends on communication and communication styles, because Harrison had said that communication is very important to him in a relationship, and it's evident in how he and Destiny communicate, in the sense that they have been able to sort of gain an understanding of themselves as a unit and how they function in their relationship, which I really love. And then you have KK with Keenan just having a conversation, talking about themselves as a couple. They didn't dissect the sort of Mr. and Mrs. Game. I thought they would have dissected it and sort of seen what they needed to fix or what they needed to work on, because Harrison was actually teasing Destiny and saying we need to gain a better understanding of how we both receive love. Whereas Keenan and KK were busy talking about how they are attracted to each other, how much they like each other, and it's like, maybe this is why you're not doing very well. Maybe you need to stop focusing on the physical attraction and actually get to know your partner and see if it's something that you want to be involved in long term. And then the Bergie, Carmen, and Victor scenario, I didn't get it. I know it seemed, it appeared as though Harrison was trying to pacify Victor because he could tell Victor was becoming heated. But then Carmen, I think what Carmen did is she tried to weaponize Bergie's tears. That's the impression that I get. She tried to play warrior in the sense that she took Bergie knowing that he wouldn't be able to stand up to Victor, and then went there and pretended to be defending Bergie from this, big man that's trying to intimidate him and make him feel less than. Because she went across to Victor and told him, I need you to come and have a conversation with me and Bergie. And I remember Harrison giving Victor signs to say, you need to calm down before you speak to them. Because I think he could tell that Victor was very heated about the whole situation. And then she starts talking and it's like, I think, in my opinion, Carmen is belittling Victor and then pretending to be a savior for Bergie. And for me, that's just her trying to secure her place in the villa. That's all I get. I don't think she really cares for Bergie as much as she's making out she feels for him. I think it's all just a show, just to get support from the audience, and we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, the guys then sort of Bertie goes into the bedroom and all the guys start having a conversation. And he's so overwhelmed that Keenan asked him, "Do you need a timeout?" And he said yes. And then he walked out and then he was crying. And it's like, I don't think he should go home. I think Bergie should stay on the show. Because if he didn't manage to go to sort of like a boarding school or, college or university where he was amongst other guys that were able to sort of not intimidate him, but educate him and sort of support him and challenge him in situations for him to grow as a person, then I think Love Island is it. Leave him on the show, let him, earn his worth, and he will be a better man by the time he leaves the show. The bedroom was hot. After Berkey's cried, he comes back to the room. He's very uncomfortable, obviously, because people are still upset. And those that are not involved in the immediate situation are sort of trying to pacify it, but also trying to make sure that Berkey learns his lesson and he doesn't repeat what he did this time. And in the corner, you have Harrison and Destiny in their own little world. They're busy talking. I think he knew Destiny was upset, but he didn't know what exactly she was upset about. So he kept asking her, "Are you okay?" And she would ask him, "Yes, I'm good. You? Are you okay?" And it's like, oh my God, these two. So they kept out of whatever commotion was happening in the bedroom. How they did that, only the two of them know. And then the islanders go to sleep, and in the morning, Leo is trying to sort of cool down the situation and sort of trying to sort of be mediator and tell everybody that yes, yesterday there was a lot of tension, but today is a better day, and let's hope everything will get better. We all just need to continue to move on. And Victor said he needs someone to clear his name, because at the moment his name has been tarnished and he's being blamed for things that he didn't do. And Bergie is just there. And Keenan was sort of trying to play Big Brother, but also trying to use it as a teachable moment for Bergie. So he told Bergie, at the moment, Victor is upset. You just need to let it ride and allow him to vent, because he is upset. He will cool down at some point, but while he's still hot, you need to allow him to be and to do as he pleases, because you're in the wrong, and he, is in his feelings. And at some point, he'll cool down, and the two of you will mend bridges. But for now, you need to all stay in your ends. And then you have the islanders get up and everybody's sort of feeling some type of way. While all this is happening, Harrison and Destiny are in their own little world. They're not involved in whatever business is going on, and it's like, oh my God, I love that for that. And then the girls, obviously, Carmen is sort of saying, "Oh, I'm still very upset about what happened yesterday." She wants space from Bergie for the time being to try and process what's going on. Carmen is using Bergie. That's it. I think the only everybody else in the villa has Berg's best interest. Even Victor, as much as people might say Victor is bullying him or whatever, Victor had Berg's best interest at heart and was trying to tell him the truth about his connection with Carmen, and let him know that Carmen was using the idea that she knew that Bergie would most probably be a popular Islanders with the fans, and this is why she wanted to recouple with him and was pretending to actually like him in a romantic sense when she didn't. But he didn't see it that way. He thought, Carmen had his best interests at that when no, Carmen was doing Carmen and was always going to do Carmen so that she could stay in the villa. Bergie then goes to his sister, Hannah, and, he's still very miserable because he's worried. He doesn't know what to say to the guys because he knows he is wrong one of them, and he knows that everybody agrees that he needs to apologize, so he doesn't know how to start apologizing. And Hannah is sort of upset on his part because this is someone she sees as a little brother, so she doesn't agree with how the situation has been handled. But I think she needs to start off by speaking to her friend before she speaks to anybody else. That's just my impression. So after Hannah has a conversation with Bergie, I think Bergie, the day before he spoke to anyone else, should have gone to Hannah to help him sort of process what he was trying to say, because you could tell he was overwhelmed, but he couldn't sort of brainstorm with the guys because all the guys were upset with him, and Keenan, who seemed to be a neutral party, he didn't know whether to trust him. So I like the fact that him speaking to Hannah sort of gave him clarity in what was going on and how to move forward. And then you have Leo in the kitchen flirting with Cassie, and it's like, why? you played Cassie with Anna, and Cassie sort of signed out and said she wasn't going to be part of a throuple. Now you've realized that, oh, maybe Cassie is it for me. You're trying to flirt with her. That doesn't make sense. And you have Anna in the background sort of making faces and sort of looking some type of way, and it's like, how you get them is how you lose them. You stole Leo from Cassie, and Cassie's just taking her man back. You were looking after him, and she's ready to take him back, and that's it. Then Marco receives a text message to say he's going on a date. The chosen four are going on a date, and it's like, give us a rest. Their date was cute in the sense that they applied mud on one another, but I didn't like the stepping in that dirty pond. I don't even know what bacteria was lying in that water, but anyway, they seemed to enjoy themselves. They were busy chatting, and Leo was sort of asking Anna that, how will your family feel about me when they meet me, and what do you think they will say and stuff. And it's like, well, you've been moving like a dog, so they will feel and think like that you are just like that because of the tendencies that you've displayed. Marco is very, 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 very overconfident. Marco is overconfident that, you know, they were going to win. He knew they were going to win the challenge just because they actually listened to one another, and, you know, because they really like each other and stuff. And it's like, not really. The only reason you won was because Destiny and Harrison were denied an answer that they both wrote the same answer, but were told, no, we didn't want an NA, we actually wanted a number, just because the producers were after sort of embarrassing the Islanders by showing how much of whore-like tendencies they had. But anyway, so the chosen four returned from their spa day. One thing I like about my couple is they're going to be present, but they're not going to comment in messy stuff, in stupid stuff. Because Destiny and Harrison, though Destiny said to the girls and Harrison said to the boys, they didn't even say anything when Marco and Anna, Hannah, and Leo were talking about their date and how they felt and what had gone on and stuff. They were just minding their own business, which is something I like about them. They always want to stay out of the mess, and they always want to focus on one another. And then the Islanders get ready for the night, and Victor's obviously talking about, he feels like there's an impending doom, like he's going towards an ice block, and he doesn't know what's going to happen because he's still very anxious in regards to his fate on the show. And so we'll see how that plays out, obviously, because he's been portrayed as the bad guy, and suddenly Carmen has made herself and Bergie be, victims to Victor's bullying, which is really sad. Because I think there's a lot more to the story, and I think the editing didn't do Victor any justice, because given his size, his demeanor, and the way he was speaking, it makes him seem like he is the one who was after all the chaos, when he was just a victim as much as Bergie was to Carmen's little ploy of whatever she hoped to accomplish. Am I the only one who's pleasantly confused, or is anyone else confused? Because the guys are chatting after everybody's had their glasses of wine. They're just busy relaxing around the villa and having conversations. And Cassie, after speaking to Carmen, is encouraged to go and pull Leo for a chat to find out why he started flirting with her, given the fact that they had broken up when he started flirting with Anna while he was in a coupling with Casey. So while Leo and Cassie are having their conversation, Hannah sits close by and is busy eavesdropping with Anna, and they're recording everything that Leo is saying. And it doesn't make sense to me, because they then report to Marco that, oh, can you see what Leo is doing? He's busy having a conversation with Cassie. They're busy flirting, and he's busy telling Cassie that he doesn't like me, he can't stand me. And it's like, why are you saying that? They then run to the fire pit to all the other girls to sort of get them on board, to say, look at what Cassie's doing. She's pushing onto Leo. And it's like, Cassie was in a coupling with Leo from day one. Anna then decided to pursue Leo, knowing that he was in a coupling with Cassie, and stole him from Cassie. And so for her to start crying that, why is Cassie stealing my man? That's a bit rich, given the fact that he wasn't your man in the first place. He dumped you, and you ended up with Bergie because no one else wanted to pick you up. So please, you need to sit your bum somewhere and wait to be called upon. I didn't like that. And I don't like the fact that Hannah, who was not present, has suddenly decided to take sides just because she's become friends with Anna. Anna brought this on herself when she cheated with Leo on Cassie. So she needs to sit down somewhere and wait for her turn. Victor was busy having a chat with Destiny. And you could see that Harrison was sitting close to the girls, but he just seemed to just be as sitting there as though someone had said, "Wait for me here, I'm coming." It's like, oh my God, I love my couple. They don't like involving themselves in the drama. The guys then run to try, Marco and sort of Keenan try and drag Leo from Cassie, and he doesn't move. And they're all like, "What do we do? What do we do?" He doesn't want to leave Cassie. We have no choice but to leave him. So they left him with Cassie. So eventually, when Leo and Cassie finish their conversation and they come down, Cassie tries to go and sit with the girls. And Hannah stands up first and walks off with Anna and is like, "Please make it make sense. You need to know your place and sit down, because you were not there when Anna stole Leo from Cassie. You need to keep quiet. You need to stop playing into the drama that Anna is trying to create and the narrative that she's trying to set out, because she's now saying, I feel betrayed by my friend, and I feel betrayed by my partner." And it's like, you did the same thing. You were friends with Cassie when you stole Leo from Cassie. So why is it suddenly you are the aggrieved when you stole him? Cassie didn't say anything. She just left you and let you be. So now that suddenly that guy has realized he wants to go back to the girl that he was in the first place, you have no leg to stand on, because you tried to steal someone, stole them for a bit, and then when they were ready, they went back to where they came from. So please sit down and wait to be called upon. And the villa is now, everybody's just laughing at the drama because it's just unbelievable. The guys are talking to Leo, they're telling him off for what he did. They're trying to make him see reason in how he went wrong by trying to pursue something with Cassie without first speaking to Anna. And it's like, he doesn't owe Anna anything. Anna stole him. So she made her bed, she needs to lay in it, and she needs to deal with whatever consequences come up, because she knew he was in a coupling with Cassie and decided to push up on Cassie and win. She won. Now the prize she won, the owner of the prize wants the prize back. She can't complain that I want my prize back, because it was never hers to claim in the first place. So the islanders are called around the fire pit to announce who is safe and who is not. First announced are Keenan and KK, which was to be accepted because they are a strong couple, even though they didn't do great on the Mr. and Mrs. Challenge. And then Harrison and Destiny were second to be voted for, and then Bergie and Cassie. I think they were safe because of Bergie. And you could tell